bit early.
All right, everyone. We ask you to keep the volume a bit down because we're recording and we don't want to pick that up. Okay, so welcome to UTSC's first ever Machine Learning Bootcamp. For those of you that don't know, I'm the new president of DS3, and I'm super excited to bring this initiative forward. So back when I was pitching for my presidency in April, seems like a year ago already, but this bootcamp was the core of my vision moving forward with DS3. And over the past 3 or so months, we've been having multiple meetings with the bridge, with the CMS department, faculty, staff, everyone within our team itself. And all of that would mean nothing if it weren't for you guys who came here, who registered, who showed up, because that's what makes this program what it is. So let's give it up for everyone who's here. Now, on a serious note, before the academics team does their magic, I just want to, just set the tone and, just lay out a few things that are probably important. So if you just go to the next one. So what we can expect from the bootcamp is you will receive guided workshops and labs. So every other week, Friday 4 to 6, same time, same location, there will be a topic that's discussed, that's taught, and you will be going through a guided lab to build your foundations. You have networking opportunities. There will be a Discord server. You can ask your questions there. You can meet up people here. You can talk. You can discuss anything you want related to data science or anything else. And the main focus of the bootcamp becoming project ready. Now, what I mean by that is that we will not be giving you a project to code along with. You will be given the opportunities and the resources to think on your own, to choose what models you want for your project, and to work on it yourself. That is the core focus, because that's how learning really happens. And just another thing, growth is not linear, right? There will be times when it feels difficult, it feels overwhelming, you have other responsibilities, everyone has their own responsibilities. But what we do ask is give it as much commitment as you can, because I know it's not easy, but that's how we grow, and that's how you push yourself forward. So if you find yourself struggling, ask questions. We're always here for you. The Discord server will always be monitored for questions, and we're always there. Learn by doing. By that, I mean, don't just GPT your answers. Actually, try to go into the notebook, try it for yourself, and see what's happening. And really just trust the process, right? I know it gets thrown out a lot, but really trust the process. Because one thing I can guarantee is that you start here, but you'll never end here, right? There will always be some sort of growth, and that I can guarantee. So that's it from my side. The academics team can take it from here. That's Chris, our VP of Academics, and he'll be on from here.
All right, yeah, so it's nice to meet everyone here. Glad that everyone turned up. It's a great crowd we have here today. Like Chris mentioned, my name is Chris. I'm the VP of Academics here at DS3 this year. My team has been working really hard, and we will continue to work hard to bring this bootcamp to everyone here and make sure that everyone has all the skills and all the knowledge they need by the end of it to build their own projects come part 2 of this bootcamp. I'm going to let my team of directors introduce themselves.
Yeah, so hello everyone, my name is Tamer Blan. I'm a third year student specializing in management, stats, and quant finance. And I'm very excited to see you here, and welcome to the bootcamp.
Hi everybody, I'm Gursumat. You can just call me Guri. I'm a third year specializing in statistics in machine learning. It's great to see you all. If you guys need any help, I'll be around. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Aryan. I'm a third year as well. I'm specializing in physics and minoring in CS, and great to see a lot of first years here, and let's see how this goes. I'm very excited for the bootcamp.
Hello, my name is Edison, or you can call me Eddie. I'm a second year student and currently doing a specialist in machine learning and a major in CS, and I'm pretty excited for what's to come.
Alright, one quick thing before I hop into this. You guys probably have all seen on the promotional networks like on Insta and probably in your emails. This will be a six workshop bootcamp for part 1. Starts from the very start today, where it's just intro to ML, but it rapidly increases all the way up to deep learning by the end. So it gets more exciting by the week, so make sure you guys do show up every single week. Yeah, we'll get started. But before I get into technical things, I kind of want to take a look at this new big thing that everyone's heard of, and that's ML, machine learning. So we know that everyone probably knows, you all used ML applications before. It's a really rapidly growing industry right now. It's not only very, very hot in tech, but you can find it all across all other industries, such as healthcare. With a show of hands here, who has like any strong interest in pursuing a career in ML-related jobs in the future? Yeah, that's great to see. Does anyone want to share like any specific industry you're targeting right now? Back.
This is more of a distant dream, but I'm also a biology student, and I'm eyeing a career in bioinformatics. So one recent application of machine learning into protein folding, which is this really complicated thing. Like differentiated the amino acid and you need to determine how it folds into a functional protein. And recently we've been using AI to do that a lot faster and more accurately, which has huge implications for like a lot of fields in biology. So that was great.
Yeah, 100%. You see a lot of like automation and making things much quicker, much more simpler to do. Instead of humans actually doing these hard processes, you have all these machines doing this stuff. And that's kind of like the core concept of what ML is, and that's why it's called machine learning. I'll go through some of these incredible stats we have. So currently the growth is actually compared to the dot-com bubble. You guys probably aren't old enough to like live through that era, but trust me, it was big.
Aren't you 1 year older than us?
That's true, yeah.
But also, we like the market in 2021 or 2022, sorry, for the ML market was over $19 billion. In 1 year, it grew all the way to 26 billion, and it's projected by 2030 to go all the way to over 225 billion. So there's lots of opportunities out there, and if you guys work hard and continue down, are interested in the path of ML, you guys will have great futures. Yeah, and then there's also a pretty cool stat here conducted by PwC along with Stanford. So it shows that ML specialists job postings on across all job boards are actually increasing at 3.5 times rates faster than any other AI job. So that includes, computer vision jobs and stuff like that. So we're going to start with the big question: what is machine learning? Does anyone does anyone really know what exactly is the definition of machine learning off the top of their head? No? Okay. So essentially machine learning is, in simple terms, it's like the process of training a piece of software with a bunch of data, and essentially that software is what we call a model, which we'll get into a little bit later. And we use this to create a lot of insightful predictions and also generate a lot of content or text from this big data that we have. I know someone back there mentioned one use of ML in biology. Does anyone, based off this description, have any other ideas of what ML can be used for, or what we have used ML for?
So in high-end theoretical physics, there are like outputs of equations that are like 52 terms of differential equations, and machine learning is essentially used to boil all of these terms down to only 8 terms, so it is pretty useful in theoretical physics as well.
Yeah, 100%. Anyone else? Yep.
Self-driving cars, where you use like a lot of information from already driven vehicles to have a machine recognize various different situations and predict the information based off of that. And it's already applied in a lot of countries that are leading self-driving cars.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, self-driving cars actually includes quite a few different techniques within AI. So not only machine learning, also includes computer vision and stuff like that. Actually, recently I saw on LinkedIn that Uber actually started implementing, I forget where in the US, but there was one state where they implemented technologies from this company called Wave, which propels self-driving cars. And yeah, probably in the future it's going to come to Canada too. But yeah, that's always forward-leading. Divya, did you have?
Maybe it kind of quant finance, like predicting markets. Maybe stocks. It's not at that level yet, definitely, but maybe in the future if it's smart enough, you could only make basic level trades with it.
Yeah, that's it's something that isn't very like fully well developed right now because the stock market is still very volatile. I did talk to a TD stock analyst before, and he's been trying to implement RNNs for the past roughly decade. He did say that he was able to predict some of Bitcoin before in terms of crypto, but he did say it's still very volatile and has a lot of work to do still. All right, and continuing, you guys might already know, but I know I got this question a lot. What's the difference exactly between AI versus ML? Because these two terms come up a lot. Does anyone have any idea? Okay, so essentially ML is just a subset of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence kind of encompasses everything, all these different techniques that can be applied. Machine learning is that one of those techniques. Other techniques, like I mentioned earlier, would include computer vision. We also have like speech recognition. These are all different techniques that are subsets of artificial intelligence. So ML is one of those techniques. Under ML, we have different subsets such as artificial neural networks, as well as other neural networks that will also appear with deep learning. Something else that some people may ask is anyone interested also in data science here? Yeah? So like some people might ask what's the difference between data science and machine learning, or do you do machine learning and data science? Right now, like it's kind of like a fluffy situation inside the market. So you might be like by name a data scientist, but you might also do some ML. But essentially the core differences between these two is that data science is more like these tasks where humans are performing them. You're performing the statistical analysis as a human. Whereas machine learning, all these tasks are done by the machine. So you're telling the machine what to do. So those are the core differences. So now we're going to get into what is a model. Our president, he's very good looking, but he's also probably going to be a model someday, but he's not the model we're talking about. So the model we're actually talking about is actually a mathematical relationship derived from data that a machine learning system uses to make predictions. And essentially, it's built by training large amounts of data, and yeah. And now, I think we'll get into some of the types of ML systems. So the main one we'll focus here during this bootcamp will be the supervised learning, because in week 3 and week 4 of these, which will be, I forget the exact dates, but that'll be later in November or end of October as well. You guys will be going over more in-depth parts of supervised learning, which will be mainly regression and classification. So does anyone have an idea of what supervised learning right now is right now? No? Okay. So essentially, supervised learning is where we're making predictions after we see lots of data with correct answers. So we're given previously correct data, right? And then we're just trying to find different connections between these elements in the data, and then we can produce more correct answers. In a sense, it's like a human giving the machine learning system like data that's already good, and then they're just giving us more data back. That's also like correct. For example, a real life analogy is, say you guys are preparing for a final exam, and you guys are just studying old exams that contain both the questions and the answers. If you're second year, you probably have seen a bunch of past exams. You might go over the exams with your friends, and you have all these correct answers. That's kind of what the correct answer data that we're getting for supervised learning is. And essentially that will help you be well prepared for the actual new exam using these previously correct answers. Like I mentioned earlier, the most common cases of supervised learning is regression and classification. The other ones I'm gonna briefly mention here because they aren't covered as much during our bootcamp will be unsupervised learning. Essentially, it's kind of like the opposite of supervised learning, where you don't have any correct answers or correct data. So you're essentially your unsupervised machine learning models' goal is to identify meaningful patterns among the data. Yeah. And then semi-supervised learning is kind of a mix between both. Essentially, it's exactly what it's named, semi-supervised. So it uses a combination of both supervised and unsupervised learning. And then we get to reinforcement learning, and this one is essentially just make predictions by getting rewards or penalties based on actions performed within such an environment. Essentially, it generates like a policy that best defines for getting the most rewards. Like an example of this would be training an AI robot to beat you in like a game of chess, because every move you make, there's different like rewards or penalties based off of what your human exact moves are. And lastly, we have generative AI. This one's really new. Essentially, it's just generating a lot of content for you using a bunch of user inputs. Probably one of the most recent ones is Sora. If you guys have ever heard of OpenAI Sora, where you give it some text and it can generate like a whole movie for you. And all right, so before I move on, any other questions on that part? No? All right. All right, so I'm gonna briefly get into a bit of data. Oh, also, if I'm speaking a little quick, just let me know and I can slow down. Am I good? Yeah? Okay. Oh, and if you can't hear me at the back of the room, if you can't hear me, just let me know, because I don't have a mic. But yeah, anyways, data. So what is data? Anyone have any idea? Yes, Divya?
Correctional numbers?
Yeah, basically. It doesn't exactly have to be numbers, though. Essentially, it's just a bunch of raw facts or figures that you collect all together, and then you can use to analyze for other insights. Like today and nowadays, we have datafication everywhere. Basically, everyone, like what you're doing right now, is basically just data. If you blink, that's data. If you breathe, that's also data. If you drink water, that's data. But yeah, essentially it represents a bunch of observations, measurements, details, and everything can be encompassed really into data nowadays. And the ubiquity of data. So like I mentioned before, that's basically saying that you can find data everywhere, no matter where you are, what industry you're doing. It doesn't matter what program you're in, you're always going to deal with data. All right, so this is essentially a general picture of the machine learning workflow. For the purposes of this first workshop, we're only going to be touching on data collection and a bit of data pre-processing. Sorry. Moving on, next week we'll have data visualization, which isn't exactly modeled here, but it's a core part. Yes?
Are we going to work with the multimodal data?
Multimodal? Yeah, that'll be later weeks. Yeah, so we're going to get started with some of the more hands-on stuff. So we're going to start, I'm going to drag this over. Oh, never mind. essentially what Google, has anyone here heard of a Jupyter Notebook before? Yeah, yeah. So have you guys like worked with it before? Yeah. So for people who haven't encountered or seen what a Jupyter Notebook is, basically it's just a nice notebook where you can work with Python or also sometimes other languages such as PySpark inside of it, and essentially it's like cellularized components where you can run certain chunks of code that you want to run without running a whole file. It's also very handy to use. Normally you would create them on a local environment on your computer, but for the purposes of this workshop, since maybe not everyone here knows how to work a command line, we're just going to use Google Colab. So if you go on any web browser and you search up Google Colab, just click the very first one where it says Welcome to Google Colab, and it'll take you in here. And you'll see a sign in button on the very top right here. Just sign in with your Google account. And then once you've signed in, I'll give that a second for people who haven't signed in. So once you guys have signed in, you can go to this top left corner and you'll see a file option. Oh, wait, that's not backwards. You'll see a file option, and there you can create a new notebook. And this notebook will be actually stored in your Google Drive, so you can access it later on. So you can click here for the new notebook, and it will take you to a new notebook. From there, if you want, you can just name your notebook whatever you wish for it to be. And you see here we have a cell. So this is where you're actually going to start coding. It says or generate with AI on here because Google is like kind of cool with AI, but we're just going to actually code with our fingers.
Just really quick, if you guys have any trouble making the notebook, just raise your hand and one of us will come up and help you out with it.
Yeah. So has everyone managed to sign in, or is anyone struggling right now? Good. So I had a planned break right now, but we definitely sped through some of the content pretty quick. So you guys want a quick washroom break right now, like while whoever needs help setting it up, we can help you, or do you guys want to do a break a little later? Break right now? Or is that the consensus? Okay. No? Or can we just do a raise of hands? Who wants a break? Okay, looks like we're not going to have the break right now. We'll come back to it in a bit. So we can get started. So one of the primary things we'll be learning today here on the lab is pandas. You guys may have seen it before if you have experience with Python. Very, very common library used within data exploration and ML, data science, whatever it is. For people who haven't seen it before, essentially it's just a Python package or library, you guys call it library, that you import, and essentially it uses a bunch of these data structures such as data frames, and we do a lot of cool data transformation and stuff with it. How to import it, just like how you import any other Python library, you just do import pandas, and then typically we do an abbreviation as PD. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, it's a data structure that's used to organize data, and it's stored in a two-dimensional table of rows and columns that we can see here. Very similar to anyone who has used Excel files or Google Sheets before. It's just stored in the exact same way, where you have row, columns, and data. Yeah, any questions on this part, on what pandas exactly does? The PowerPoint? The recording and the PowerPoint will all be posted on our website. So you can see that, search that at DS3 on the DS3 website. Yeah. This is also something I'm going to briefly mention here. So Kaggle. Who here has heard of Kaggle before? Okay, that's good. A lot of you. So yeah, Kaggle is essentially a place where it's like mainly for all this working with data science and ML. They host competitions sometimes, online competitions. There's a bunch of other like open source research done on there. So a lot of data you can access, a lot of pre-trained data that you can use for your own machine learning endeavors, or it'll be a bunch of raw data there too that you can actually clean and perform research yourself. So today we won't be exactly using it because for the purpose of pandas we really don't need it. We can just use some by hand, and also Google Colab also has their own sample data. But in future weeks we will be using Kaggle as we perform more of the data visualization as well as the actual machine learning models. So for now, some of the data we'll be using today, if you go on your Colab and if you click on the file section and if you find the sample data file, you'll find a file called California Housing _test.csv. So in the next upcoming weeks, we'll get more into what exactly is testing and testing data sets and training data sets. But for now, just import this one because we're just going to use its data. So, and then in pandas, how do we actually read this CSV file? So to read this CSV file, what you'll do is you'll just assign to a variable. You'll just call it p, and then you just read pd.read_csv, and then you have to get its path name. To get its path name here in Colab, what you can do is if you right-click on the file, it'll show up as Okay, I'll just do it here. From here, you'll see, if you right-click, you'll see copy path. And if you copy path, you can just go, you just copy and paste it in there. I need the pandas. And to actually run these lines of code, if you guys haven't used Notebook before, you just press this play button on the side, on the left side, or you can just do Shift-Enter. And that will run it for you. So if you press that, it should be read. Now, if you want to actually see if the data actually got read in, you can create another cell and just type data, or whatever you name the pulled-in data. And it'll come out as the data. Is everybody following along so far? Good? Or should I? Yep.
And this is down on my laptop, so I normally get used like that.
If you already have pandas down on your laptop?
I don't have it.
Oh, no. So pandas, like it's Google Colab already has it pre-installed. All right, so now we're gonna get into some of the basics. So one of the most basic things with pandas is creating a data frame. In this, we can see if you want to manually create. So previously, I pulled it in via a CSV. But if I want to actually just create a small data frame, what I can do is I can just do put it in a dictionary form and just give it a key and its values, and then do pd.dataframe. So All right, and from this you can see we've created our own small data frame here. And then it's also important to note that data frames aren't also only limited to integers. We can also have other data types such as strings. In this example, it's kind of cut off, but we can see that we can have a column with called U of T campus, which lists all 3 campuses in strings. Obviously, UTSC is the best campus. We all know that. UTSG is kind of mid, and then we don't even know who UTM is. So that doesn't matter. But yeah, from this we can see. Okay, yeah. But yeah, from this it's just showing that there's other data types we can use, such as strings. It also is available for bools, also date times, and really any other data type you can use within the Python framework, Pandas framework.
So just some time to run these cells. If you guys haven't done that already, just the first few, and then we'll continue in a minute. So you first want to import the library, and then as PD just abbreviates that, so you can just use PD later on, otherwise you'd have to write pandas every single time. That's just for convenience. And then from there, yeah, you can just continue. If you've done that, if everyone has done that, we can go scroll down to the next. Everyone good? Anyone not good?
If you're not good, make sure to reach out to my fellow directors on the side, and they'll also come help. So I'll just finish this one real quick.
And just a reminder, to run every cell, you have to click Shift Enter or hit the play button.
Are we good to move on? Or are you guys, is everyone still typing out, following? Yeah, so also one thing to note is that when you have keys here, so our keys will be, for example, the first one will be yes, second one will be U of T campus as well as ranking. So these keys, they become your columns, column titles, and then your values, as they say are values, they'll become your row values, row data. Yeah, and they're all organized by via indexing. Okay, so something else that Pandas also supports is a series. And that would be a sequence of data values So if we consider a data frame to be like a table, essentially a series is like a list. And we can take a look at what that would look like. You guys can try running that and see what that will produce. And from this, we'll see that we produce a singular column with all our values in each row. Like I mentioned, that it's a single column. Essentially, it's just a single column of a data frame. And we can assign row labels to the series using an index parameter. However, it won't have column names, and it will only have a single general name to it. So we can see that here, where we're assigning the indexes. And you see at the bottom here, where it says name, that will be our general name for this series. So before we move on, we've had quite a bit of stuff to go over now. So we're probably going to take a 15-minute break for anyone who needs to catch up or figure out any issues with Colab, and for everyone to have a washroom break. So yeah, we'll take roughly a 10-minute break, and we'll come back around 5.